far. I know it's been a little while since I went live and did a devotion with you all, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss another week before I got to share a little bit of what God's been teaching me in my life in this season. So I want to talk with you guys just for a few minutes on the subject of keep it moving, right? Keep it moving. It's from Ecclesiastes 3, specifically verses 1 through 8, where it's discussing that there is a time for everything. All right, so I'll read this through real quick. I'll go through a couple bullet points just as some things to keep in mind throughout the week, throughout the year, and then we'll go back to our days and keep being productive. But verse 1 says, "There is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every matter under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to shun embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What benefit, verse 9, is there for the worker from that in which he labors? I have seen the task which God has given the sons of mankind with which to occupy themselves." Now, what's the whole point of me reading that? Well, it's the reminder of this, that there's a time for everything, right? Like the way that it was portrayed to me is this. Don't stay. Let's think of life as seasons, right? Some translations call a time for everything as seasons for everything. There's a season for this, a season for that. A year has spring, summer, fall, and winter. And the way that the impression I got when I was reading this was, don't stay in summer if it's time for fall, right? So the first mistake that we make sometimes is we try to extend seasons we're enjoying when it's really time for us to transition to a new one. Now, I don't know what season of life you're in. I don't know what's going on in your life, but what I can tell you is that it's very easy for us to want to cling on to the great seasons and to hang on to those good times, even though time doesn't stop. It's up to us to continue to make the most of each season, because without transition in life, there's no growth. Without changes in life, there's no progress, right? If you stay in the same spot for the whole your whole life, like there's nothing productive about that. So that's the first thing, is keeping it moving. Let's keep moving through our seasons. Let's keep moving through our time. If Jesus was a baby and stayed a baby, he would never have gone to the cross and died for our sins and given us the gift of salvation. So for everything there is a season. Now here's the question that really bothered me a little bit. And it was the question of, are you going through a tough season, or are you getting tougher in this season? Now, that really checked me a little bit, because I know oftentimes we discuss how seasons are hard. I'm going through a rough season. We're just having, like, this is just a tough season for us. We're always talking about the season being tough, but we never speak positively over ourselves that we are being made stronger and tougher in this season. So I want to challenge you with this today. Instead of saying that you're going through a tough season, let's reframe that wording and talk about how we are getting tougher in this season. And the other thing you have to keep in mind with that too is this: every season has a purpose. Every season provides some type of growth if we allow it to happen. Now, here's the thing: back to the original idea of don't stay in summer if it's time for fall. Are you trying to complete your season? Like, are you trying to finish it early potentially? Are you trying to get out of your situation quickly? Or are you allowing it to complete you? Are you trying to complete the season, or are you allowing it to complete you? So are you trying to move through the growth as fast as possible to to essentially avoid growing? Are you trying to escape the season, to not have to go through the pain, to not have to go through that growth we have to encounter? Or are you going to allow that season to groom you and grow you, not because it's too tough, but because it's going to make you tougher? So there wasn't a deep, deep teaching today. It was just this reminder that God's been taking me through the last 2 weeks of whenever you enter different seasons of life, let's focus less on how tough of a season it is and focus more on how is it making me tougher? How is it making me stronger? How am I becoming a better husband for my wife? How am I becoming a better boyfriend for my girlfriend? How am I becoming a better dad for my kids? How am I becoming a better example for my church? How am I becoming better? How am I leveling up? So, with that being the case, it's just a simple subject. Just keep it moving. Just keep going. Don't try to escape. Don't try to halt the seed. Just keep it moving. Keep growing. Keep pushing. Keep moving. The only way to get to the next seasons, the only way to move to get into the direction to our destination is if we keep moving, right? If we're using a GPS and we simply stay at the same turn once we started the car, we're never going to get to the destination. Same thing with seasons. If we're in summer but we want to get to fall, well, we have to go through all of summer to get to fall. You can't just escape summer and fast forward to fall. You have to move through each season completely. And the reason why most of us don't always experience the growth or the fruit that we want to is because we're not willing to wait through that season. We're not willing to work all the way through that season to be able to make it through all of summer, complete summer, and move into fall. So let me encourage you with this for this year. Whatever season you're in right now, before you want to escape the pain, escape the heart, before you want to escape the season you're in, how can you maximize this season to be even stronger and better and tougher and overall just a better individual to enter into your next season? Because your next season actually needs you to go through your full growth now, so your character, your person, your faith, your maturity is prepared for that next season. So have a great day, you guys. Have a great week. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys again for the next one.